It has been a moment or two. My.
Been a month. It's been a month, Doug.
Been a month. Been a month. And
How
I've been
time flies.
relaxing.
Yes.
So
So have
time
I.
does
So
fly.
have I.
I know because I look at some of the stats that our audience is predominantly in the US. So I may need to beg their forgiveness because it's where I live, Christmas and summer coincide. And
That's right.
so it
That's
is
right.
not
That's us.
unusual to take a month off at this time, just as it is for you guys in August. But I haven't even said
Yes.
welcome to episode 15 of the Amazon Connect podcast. And with me, Douglas Park is my faithful co-host and mentor and better, Mark Rudkowski. How are you, Mark?
Good. How you doing, Douglas?
Yeah, really well, really well,
Yeah.
really well. I
Yeah.
feel
Cool.
recharged.
Yes. Same. Yeah. No, it was a much needed time off. I think after reinvent, I needed a minute
Yeah,
to
and after what
decompress.
was that last episode, I think was. I don't know if it's my favorite because it's like having a
Yeah.
favorite child.
Right.
You don't like
Mhm.
you have one, you just don't want to admit which one it
Yes.
is.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I think with that episode was a really powerful episode, being able to get through those 30 plus features from
Totally.
or feature releases from reInvent
Yes.
was
Yes.
yeah. If anyone hasn't listened, I encourage you to get back there.
100%.
And we are back to proficiency-based routing experts into our podcast.
We are.
And Adrian Morgan joins us, my longtime friend and colleague, who joins us not because of his deep and undoubted expertise in Amazon Connect and contact centers generally, but because of his knowledge of the Amazon.com contact centers. So first of all, I'll say hello, Adrian.
Hello, Douglas. Hello, Mark. It has been
Hello.
a moment since I've spoken to both of you.
I feel like you guys are tilting more on your side of the world than mine.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's very, very pleasant where we live right now. It's
Yes, it is very much.
mid-20s Celsius, of course, and
Yeah,
beautiful
so
blue skies.
it's been cold here in North Carolina, which people around here aren't thrilled about. But we're actually supposed to get a foot of snow, which
Oh,
down
hey.
here in the South, you get a foot of snow, like it's not going to be good. We're going to be shut down.
Yeah.
I'll say
But
in a
there's
week.
a little
shut
bit of fun though as
down.
well, though, isn't there? Like when you wake up in the morning and the snow's there must be a bit of a thrill.
Sure. Yeah, there is a thrill,
Yeah.
except you just can't go anywhere because we have I think we have one plow for the entire city of Raleigh. So,
Well, we've had the reverse here. Whilst Adrian is right, it is pleasant today. I will speak in American money and say it got to 111 degrees Fahrenheit here
That's balmy.
just the other day. So 44 degrees Celsius. It was, yeah. I mean, that's
Next time we'll have to do a podcast from the beach.
Yeah, correct. And I don't want to get too political or anything, but if only someone had warned us about this climate change thing,
Right? Yeah.
But let's actually get to connect.
Totally.
Now, yes. So Adrian we're gonna deep dive with Adrian on his experiences at and knowledge of the Amazon.com contact centers, which I will remind everyone is a massive differentiator for us at the Amazon Connect team because Amazon ourselves run one of the world's largest contact centers, and we learn a lot from that. A lot of the innovation that we build into the platform comes from that. A lot of the lessons we've learned, so it gives us kind of a unique position in the market of contact center providers.
Well, it's really how Connect was born, right? It was essentially, essentially for Amazon.com, we couldn't find, essentially a solution out in the market that could solve the scale that Amazon.com needed. And, as we built it ourselves, essentially, customers started coming to us and asking, what does Amazon use? And we said, well, it's something we built ourselves. And that really led to, turning it into a product. And here we are today.
Here we are today. And I've misspoken by referring to us as a contact center provider because we've blasted way beyond the barriers and the boundaries of that these days. And it's totally mispositioning and misunderstanding what Amazon Connect is now, particularly with all that's gone on in recent months. But let's talk about the what's news and what's been in. And it has, I mean, it's slowed down a little bit after the glut of reInvent, but there is some
Yeah, there is. Yes, there a couple little things kind of popped out, afterwards, which is always the case. We always get a few fast follows.
yeah. So do you want to go with the first one, Mark?
Yeah, so let me, I'll pick actually I'll do a couple because I think they're related. So Amazon Lex, a couple enhancements that recently came out. So one was launched improved speech recognition models for English, and the other was launching configurable voice activity detection sensitivity. Say that 3 times fast. So essentially, one is just improving the overall accuracy of our ASR for Lex. So again, continuing to improve the overall ability which you can recognize multiple English locales, improved conversational patterns, non-native English speakers with regional accents, right? All of those types. So again, continue to really improve that overall voice recognition, from a Lex perspective, and then voice activity detection sensitivity is really being able to enable Lex to adapt to different types of environments. So particularly if it's a
Mm.
very noisy environment, right, being able to have Lex be able to better recognize the intent, or essentially what the customer is saying in a very noisy environment.
I think I guarantee everyone on this call has been had their demo of their chatbot undone by a noisy
Yeah,
environment.
100%. Yep. It's
100%.
trying to do that demo from the airport never works. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Or I mean, in the very early days, I mean, loud air conditioning would throw it off. Like that's the
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Amazon Connect Chat now supports agent-initiated workflows. Anyone who has been keeping up with what we've been doing in the chat space knows that you can begin a chat with a form or a guide for the customer to fill out. So that could be some personal information, or it could be some prerequisites in terms of what you want to get out of them to assist the resolving the problem. But now, once you've got to the live agent, the agent can kick off one of those flows as well. So it could be, Adrian starts chatting with me. I'm the contact center agent. It turns out he wants to apply for a credit card. I can bang. Here's the flow for applying for a credit card. Just fill out these fields and
Yep.
all the rest of it. And we can
Yep.
get that going, which is super cool.
Cool. Another one here, Amazon Connect now provides agent screen recording status tracking. So this is really essentially now, basically providing events and event bridge, right? That allows you to more or less monitor, when the screen recordings are, taking place. So you can see, essentially, success failure codes, right? What browser they're using. So all kinds of information about the screen recording that you can now, leverage through event bridge. So again, just, small enhancement, but just making it easier to monitor and manage, overall.
I think this is one of those catch up feature releases. Like it's just bringing parity for
Totally.
the screen recording to the voice recording, and it's
Yes,
and
exactly.
I personally quite fond of these ones. I like these ones where there's a little we've lagged behind on something because we launched with one part of it, and someone says
Yep. Yeah.
it,
It's
it
it, we
wouldn't.
they're like paper cut releases as we would call them, right? Just small little enhancements to your point to just continue to make it a better and better offering.
Yeah. Amazon Connect now provides agent scheduling metrics in the data lake. Friends of the podcast and keen listeners will remember when we had Yasser El Hagan on the podcast, and he said that the data lake was his favorite part of Connect at the moment. That too many people
Hmm.
sleep on the data lake. It is
Yeah.
amazingly powerful, and I know I've said it in the past at length, but I will recap briefly to say we provide so much data out of Amazon Connect in so many different forms historically, whether it be in files in S3, whether it be streams, whether it be feeds, whether it be API calls, all those kinds of things, that operationally it was just a headache for our customers to maintain it all and keep an eye on it all and all the rest of it. The data lake removes all of that. It's all in one location. The feature itself is of no cost. Of course, you pay for the storage and you pay for whatever tool you're using to access it, but
Hmm.
we've included it as part of the service, which is amazing. And it's now got better
Yeah.
because agent scheduling metrics are in there as well, which of course
Mhm.
is very, very important business data.
Yep. 100%. I think this will be the last one, Doug. So Amazon Connect now provides the capability to store nested JSON object and looping
Oh,
arrays.
yeah.
Yes. So this one here, again, just continue to improve in terms of enabling how you can, manage data, and, as it traverses through the IVR, through our flows. Uh, you know, Previously before this, you had more or less had a flat JSON structure that you had, and now that we've got this ability to store nested JSON object, right, gives a lot more flexibility in terms of being able to store different types of data records and other more complex data types.
We'd only half done the job really, in that you could, when you returned information from a Lambda function, we'd move beyond a string map or key value pairs, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and you could return
Yes.
JSON,
Mhm.
but you couldn't then work with it in the flow.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we've extended it so this the logic in the flow
Mhm.
now understands JSON and nested JSON, and you can iterate through that.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we were talking about a hotel booking example just before we started recording, that's a good example of maybe pulling back. As a traveler, you might have multiple bookings with a travel agent, particularly if you're someone like Mark Rukowski, who is rarely at home.
Right. Exactly.
And
Constantly
so,
on the road.
yeah, being able to iterate through that in the flow is super handy. I'm going to sneak one more in, because it's another one of these paper cut, just completing our features. Amazon Connect Cases now supports, or is now supported in CloudFormation.
Hmm.
So just making sure that as we release new features, that we are still making sure that anyone who is using CloudFormation and contact center as code and those kinds of things is able to actually programmatically configure cases as part of those CloudFormation templates. Anyone who is not familiar with CloudFormation, recommend you get on over and take a look at it, because it can save you a tremendous amount of time when building complex workloads.
Yeah.
I think we've kept him waiting long enough in his very calming blue background. So
I feel like
Adrian,
Adrian's at the beach right now. I could almost with that background.
I'm hoping that the seagulls don't interrupt us as we go through.
But before we get into your topic, Adrian, would you mind just giving us a very, very brief introduction?
Sure. I'm a senior solutions architect at Amazon Connect, AWS. I've been here for almost 8 years, coming up to 8 years in April. And I was the second SA hired in APJ, behind Mr. Douglas Park, of course. And since then, I've worked with like a lot of our large enterprise customers in the region. So some of our banks, financial services institutions, insurance companies, telcos, and so forth. So, One New Zealand, which was Vodafone, National Australia Bank, Globe Telecom, some of our referenceable customers. So had really deep involvement with all of those customers and many more.
Actually, your fingers are on every
transform.
single one of our big customers in region. Really, let's.
In a nice way. In a nice way, I've helped to. Yeah, I mean, and one of the exciting things about what I've been able to do at AWS is not, moving a customer onto Amazon Connect is exciting, but actually delivering them the results that they get out of Amazon Connect, that's where it gets really, really exciting. So, when you look at the results that someone like Globe has had, and or One New Zealand, it's truly extraordinary.
Well, good. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, and I think even for both of you, right? Sydney was one of our earlier international regions, and I think it's been super important, not only with customers, but YouTube and advocates, right? Ensuring that from a product perspective, right, we're ensuring that all those capabilities are as much what we have in the U.S. as we have important part of the regions down in your neck of the woods. So it's you guys have been super important around that.
Thank you. We always had the vision that whilst we might not be the biggest geo in ANZ and APJ, we're going to be the most innovative.
Right.
So constantly pushing to the surface, to the boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think touching on that point about the excitement that comes from actually delivering outcomes for our customers, I think you've been at the forefront of not just putting in a like-for-like replacement, or get it, because we talk about this all the time on the podcast, that there are customers who move onto Amazon Connect because of getting cost out or just wanting a cloud platform or whatever, and they get on it and they basically recreate a "Hi, welcome to the contact center, press 1 for this, press 2 for that," which you absolutely can. But it was your job to really help customers innovate and think differently and think about what this platform could do in terms of, on the one hand, delivering more for their customers, but also from a business perspective for them, decoupling the growth of the contact center from the growth of the business. If you're going to double the size of your business, you want to double the size of your contact center. And it's that kind of focus that I think leads us nicely into what we want to talk about today, which is this has led you to take customers on multiple tours of various different Amazon.com contact centers.
It has.
So, yeah, where did this idea come from? And actually, how many times have you done it? Have you counted it?
Somewhere between 10 and 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
So where it came from is actually, so obviously, Amazon.com retail brands, they use Amazon Connect. And the original idea was to take customers in and be able to see Amazon Connect live in practice and see how we ran one of the largest contact centers in the world. So it started off, we would take customers across to Lexington, Kentucky, in the States, which if you like your bourbon, it's a great place to go, Kentucky.
Yes.
And so we'd take customers there and we'd talk to them about, how we ran the contact center and sort of Amazon Connect and what we'd actually brought out to market as Amazon Connect. Because obviously in the early days, we had the Amazon.com running on the internal version, I guess, and then and we would be talking to customers about the externalized Amazon Connect product. And so, then it was, I would say, 8 years ago, AWS was obviously not as well known in Australia. And so we talk a lot about our culture and our leadership principles and the idea of tenants and really talking to customers about how that guided what we do in the contact center and what we did in Amazon Connect.
I mean, some of those concepts are widely sort of known. Anyone who's seen Jeff Bezos talk about things like the andon cord, that empowered agents are able to, if they see repeated problems with a particular product, they have the power to pull that product from the website, and it comes out of the I believe it was, I can't remember which Japanese company it was. Toyota, the Toyota factory.
Yeah, so I mean, the andon cord came from Jeff being in the contact center. So Jeff was sitting with an agent listening to a call, and the agent commented that the call came in and it was a broken table, I think, from memory. And Jeff
all comes back to tables.
It all comes back to tables, not data tables, physical table, Doug. But the table was busted.
Jeff's table, you know Jeff's table story, don't you?
Yes, I do know Jeff's table.
We'll tell that one afterwards. Yeah. Carry on. Yeah. Sorry.
But the table was broken, and the agent happened to say, well, we can get another one sent out, but that'll be broken as well. And Jeff kind of went, what do you mean? Well, there's this problem with this packaging of these tables. And so Jeff was like, well, we need the agents to be there to be able to stop this type of thing from happening. And we need to be able to work out where it's happening in our network, and stop that customer experience from ever happening again. So introduce the concept of the andon cord. And from there, it's grown.
Does the andon cord idea, because I think that's a common frustration for contact center agents generally, is that they hear the problems and are not empowered to actually take action. Have there been many customers who have responded to that? Does that resonate with those who go through?
It resonates conceptually, I think. I mean, you've got to remember the microservices architecture that we have underneath the hood of Amazon, in being able to trigger the andon cord and the data flow of what we're able to see. So an andon cord being, in that example, if you pull the andon cord on a product, we know not only the product, but we know where it's stored. We know if it's a partner. We know if it's a partner marketplace product. We know everything about that product. And so we can react instantly and remove it from the website or pause purchases of it. And we can pause purchases, like we can pause delivery of a product as well, which I think is pretty interesting. So when an agent does pull the andon cord, it triggers a whole series of events. And that series of events means that we stop a potentially damaged product getting sent out. At the fulfillment center, somebody will actually go and check the physical stock. So if we're seeing, stock from one fulfillment center is being damaged versus another, we'll actually go and, double check to see at both of those fulfillment centers where the problem is.
So,
But sorry, I was going to say, in answer to your question, a lot of customers are like, our problems are, we're trying to solve those problems with our products, but we don't have all of those dots connected yet.
Yeah. Easier said than done, yes. So one of your great strengths is your ability to speak to sort of C-level executives. I've seen that many times over the years. You seem to understand their needs, wants, and desires. But on these tours, you've taken obviously C-level execs, but you've taken IT people, you've taken contact center people. Do they all get the same kind of thing out of it, or do you see those different personas taking away different things from the tour?
Very much different personas take different things away. Sort of at the C level, it's quite interesting because when you think about Amazon.com, a lot of people see it as a simple business, and kind of come in with, well, you're just delivering packages.
And put something in a box and send it out.
Put something in a box. And so understanding the scale of what we do, like understanding that there's not only 100,000 agents, just the sheer number of countries that we operate in. The regulatory requirements between states is fascinating. The fact that we run one of the largest logistics businesses in the world now with, end-to-end delivery, plus also partner delivery. And so it's interesting from a lot of C-levels see us as simple, but then realize the complexity of the business that we operate in.
Well, I think as well, I mean, and for all our listeners and viewers who don't live in the US or don't get over to the US, we really don't have a full view of what Amazon does as a business until you go to the US and see all the trucks everywhere and all the different brands and businesses that are actually running and working together from, even groceries all the way through to, it's the scale.
I mean, we have our own airline, right? I mean, that just shows you, right, from a logistics perspective, right? Like that's
yeah.
That's how crazy.
But also,
gets.
like, take it into a very simple area. We also have our own devices business. So the Kindle, the Alexa devices. Sorry, I've just triggered everybody's Alexas in the room.
You have, yes, yeah. my Kindle Fire right here.
Ah, very nice.
Yes.
But we have all that, and so we support all that as well. And that's kind of interesting. So if you get in contact about your device not working properly, we have a support center that has one of every device that we have sold sitting in a room so people can go and test and people can get to know exactly what is happening.
I mean, I'm looking at I've got my Echoes stacked up on the windowsill just along because, I mean, I've only got a few plugged in around the house. So these are some of the ones that and there's even in my house, there's a good variety. There's seven different types of Echoes. Just that I'm looking
Hopefully
at.
Not all turned on simultaneously, Doug.
No, they're all on mute. I've learned that one.
Yeah. So Adrian, when you're taking customers through this experience, what do you think is the biggest takeaway for them?
It's really interesting. So at the C level, as I said, they realize the complexity of the business, and then they realize just how much effort we've put into, number one, really be customer obsessed. Number two, make the agent's life really easy. And number three, I think is sort of tying the two of them together is how much we've been able to focus the agent on empathy and thinking about how do you actually treat this customer properly like a friend. And allow personality from our agents to come through. So I think that's kind of at a C level. It was interesting. One of the first ones that I went to, so I mentioned about Lexington, Kentucky. I've also there's another site that we've actually moved to being working from home agents, but another site in the US that we went to. It was really interesting when I took a group through there. One of the things we do after the tour is what surprised you? And one of the people turned around and went, every agent only has one screen on their desk. Like there's only a single application that they're using. It's a 27-inch screen and it just fills the screen and that's it. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do your agents? And they said, well, minimum of 2, sometimes 4. Because they've got some of these organizations that I work with have got 60 applications that an agent could need to use to solve a problem. And so Amazon Connect being able to consolidate down to one screen it has been an absolute game changer for us. But other customers look at it and go, wow, like I can really see how you've tried to improve the agent experience here.
And so the story there too, right, is the fact that, our step-by-step guides wasn't heavily influenced by that experience in terms of what we saw in the retail contact center,
I
right?
think it was basically the prerequisite for moving from the internal version, the original version of Amazon Connect to the external
Yes.
was, well, we
Yes.
need this functionality. We need the
Right.
step-by-step guides. We need the customer profiles. We need the amalgamation of the data. We need to be able to create cases. We need all, Clyde Logue spoke extremely eloquently on that particular podcast episode, which I think was episode 11. But
I have to go back and look.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll leave the exercise to the reader.
And the step-by-step guides capability, I think, is the thing that ties that agent experience all together, and allows the agent. It's really interesting. The any process that an agent needs to do is laid out for them. Now it's a pretty customized version of step-by-step guides for the agents. And we've just, with the reInvent update that we just did, we released some more of that capability into guides, which is fantastic. So if you've seen the demos that show photos of the different purchases in there, those sorts of things being as part of step-by-step guides, that's what the agent experience is for a agent in the contact center. But the interesting thing is, like, the things that go outside of that, like, there's always those things that are outside a process. And I'll give you an example. I had to ship back something. I ordered 2 by mistake. I actually shipped back the wrong thing, and I got in contact with the contact center and said, I've done this. Now, there's no process for Adrian doing a stupid thing and shipping back the wrong parcel. They had to talk to a supervisor, but every conversation that involves a supervisor is also recorded, it's tracked, it's understood, and then we work out if there should be a step-by-step guide for that process. So there's all things like that we do to continually innovate as well, which I think is really interesting.
And that's a very important concept that I was talking before about how Amazon Connect has expanded way beyond the contact center and is now a work item orchestration engine for the entire organization, any piece of work that's being done. And what you just touched on there is critical to that, and that is, I don't want any customer interaction with my organization not being reported on, not providing data on how we can make this better, It's very common in tenders to get hey, how are you going to integrate with the UC system, or the Unified Communications Platform, or our PBX, because we want to be able to transfer. Sometimes I need to transfer to Mark, who's in the back office. It's like, well, of course there are mechanisms for doing that, but let's take a step back and think, well, do you want this customer to be transferred outside of or off this platform, outside the reporting, outside the recording, outside the analytics, outside the metrics? How do we know Mark actually even handled the call well? I mean, I see this all the time when talking to councils, local councils in Australia. I guess the equivalent of sheriffs, kind of. The county in the US, where you call in and you want to talk to someone from Parks and Recreation, or you want to talk to someone from planning, or you want to talk to someone from animal control or something like that, and those guys are very rarely in Australia in the contact center or on the same platform. And this is part of this frustration that people will feel with, I called the council and no one called me back. No one remembered it. I had to start again and all that. And I think it's this kind of approach that really, I would like to take every council in Australia on a tour of the Amazon.com contact center. Which brings me to my next question. Are the customers, is there a certain point in a customer journey where it makes the most sense? Or is it before they've adopted Connect? Is it after they've already got Connect in and just see what they could do with it? Or is the no?
It's a little bit of both that we've done. And so it really does depend on, obviously, it's difficult to get into the contact center. We limit it because obviously it's an operational contact center. So it tends to be large scale customers that we bring in. or our user group.
User
That's the
group,
other one.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, like, it really does depend on where they are in their journey as well. So I've taken customers in, or potential customers in, like a good 12 months before they've even considered getting off their current platform, their legacy solution, and all the way through to my last one was a customer that had just done phase one. They'd just migrated to Connect, and they were looking to see, well, now what do I do? How do I innovate? Yeah.
So I'll let Mark think of what, because I'm going to jump in here
before
you can have the last question, because we are at the 30 minutes. I do want to say I did receive feedback from a senior manager here in APJ that he felt the podcast should either go for an hour or for 10 minutes. Around 30 was not right, but I have received feedback from some partners who said, no, it's perfect because it's the right time for walking the dog or going for a run or going to the gym. So I don't know what we want to do with that, but
to be fair, I listen to podcasts on double time, so if you go for an hour, it's only 30 minutes for me.
Right, okay, interesting.
Right.
But
High speed Doug. I listen to him all the day, all the time.
It's my favorite version.
I will let Mark close out with the final question, but my final question to you is: I would like you to just give me the rundown of the user group, because you just mentioned it there, which you mentioned sometimes incorporates a tour of the Amazon.com contact center, maybe, and some other things. Talk to me about the purpose of the user group and just a little like the itinerary and what happens there.
Yeah, we meet once a quarter. Virtually in Australia. It's open to everybody in APJ, and there are other user groups around the world. But we meet virtually because of the disparate, geos. The purpose is really for the users to come together and talk about, what they're experiencing with Amazon Connect, how it's performing for them, talk about their journey that they're going on, understand and get feedback from other customers about how they've approached a particular problem. Like, as an example, we released Connect Unlimited AI last year. And one of the customers was like, some of the customers asked, hey, has anyone gone to this? And one of my customers jumped on and said, oh yeah, I jumped onto it straight away and I'm saving $90,000 a year just by jumping on. And I get all this other functionality. So, they share their journeys, their experimentations with Connect AI Agent, performance evaluations. We're also in the room. We originally actually were going to set it up that, it was just run by the users, but they actually requested that we be in the room to sort of answer questions and give feedback and guidance.
Give you a piece of their mind.
Time.
Yeah.
and the tour you do with them over to the States.
Yeah, so every year we do a tour back to America. So the tour goes to visit the fulfillment center, which is, our big warehouse where we ship all our products from, which is another topic on its own. And then we meet up with the service team over the course of a day and a half, and then get together in a physical room with some American customers as well, where they run it again just as the normal user group does. It's Chatham House rules. Everybody communicates openly and talks about their journey and what they're trying to do. And yeah, it's really interesting to see people sort of bouncing ideas off of each other about how to adopt, capabilities like performance evaluations.
I will say, as a product manager, we love those sessions, right? We come in and we talk about our roadmap, where we're going, and then just have these really great customer conversations, which we love, right? In terms of feedback and, how can we make the product better? So yeah, we need to do more of that because it's awesome.
And these are informed, large scale customers. These are people who are using Connect heavily. They understand it. So it's really, informed information you're getting.
And the Australians are never shy at giving direct feedback.
No, they are not. Which we really appreciate.
Yeah. I really like this, but it needs to do this. Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. Noted. So Adrian, given that AI is front and center pretty much in every conversation we're having today, how does that conversation come up as, you're having these tours, and, how do we talk about it just in terms of, we've Amazon has been using AI for a long time, but love to get your perspective on it.
This is a ripper question.
It is a ripper
closing
question.
Out strong, Mark.
And it's a really interesting question because, the thing with the way that our contact centers are constructed is around this step-by-step guide concept. And that incorporates, like within step-by-step guides, you're incorporating knowledge, process, functionality, the whole lot, execution of whatever the challenge is. So yes, we do, all of the voice recordings and all that, and the transcript analysis. That all exists, but it tends not to be used by the operational teams. It tends to be used by our data and analytics teams. And we have this kind of concept of how do we get a process and actually elevate it up. Doug Park does a great discussion on your mobile phone and banking applications. The capabilities sit within the banking application for you to be effectively like a bank employee and transfer money and everything. We really want self-service to be the thing within your Amazon .com application. And so the AI is pushed up into that layer. That's only achievable when you've done all the hard work at the contact center to embed all your processes, to understand all your processes. So yeah, it's an interesting one, Mark, because we're investing at the sort of application layer. Yeah.
And I think it's great because when we say this to customers, and they can, most of them were like, yeah, I had this great experience with Amazon, right? Because it showcases it, front and center from that perspective, which is really great.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the contact centers that I bring in are not anywhere near the position that we are, and so capabilities like the AI agent assistant that produces knowledge for the agent, like they are a long way from getting that knowledge embedded in a step-by-step guide.
Right.
And so all the advantages that we released at reInvent around MCP and all those great things for external customers are hugely valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you, Doug
awesome.
and Mark.
We'd love to have you back on in the future if you're willing.
Love to be.
And with that, we will sign off. That's the Amazon.com contact center visits done. See you next time, Mark.
All right. See you all. Adrian, thanks as always. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.